Good morning, students. Today we are going to study about the base, important base, sodium hydroxide. So previous classes we discussed about acid, physical properties of acid, chemical properties of acid we have studied. Today we are going to study the base. Sodium hydroxide is a very important base. So the sodium hydroxide is prepared by the method called Chlor alkali process. This is a large scale preparation. So the raw material is a brine solution. So what is brine solution? That is nothing but a sodium chloride solution, salt water. So here we are taking the brine solution by passing current through the brine solution, or we can say that by electrolysis of brine solution we get sodium hydroxide. So we have to take in a vessel the brine solution, and we have to keep two electrodes. One is positive electrode, another is negative electrode. Positive electrode is known as, this is positive side, this is negative side. Positive electrode is known as anode, negative electrode is known as cathode. This side is anode, cathode. So what happens if I dissolve sodium chloride is in water? The sodium chloride will dissociate into sodium ion and chloride ion. Now similarly water also dissociate into H plus ion and OH minus ion. Sodium chloride water, sodium will dissociate into Na plus Cl minus, water dissociate into H plus OH minus. On passing current, the positive ion is moved towards the negative. This is negative electrode, this is positive electrode. The positive ion is moved towards the negative electrode. The negative ion will move towards the positive electrode. So the H plus and the Na plus both will move towards the cathode, and OH minus and Cl minus both are moved towards the positive electrode. Then here the chlorine will become chlorine gas. Chlorine ion lose electron, become chlorine gas. The chlorine gas will be liberated at the anode. Similarly here hydrogen will go first. Hydrogen will gain electron and become hydrogen gas. The hydrogen gas liberated at the cathode. So what is remaining? So hydrogen will go as hydrogen gas, chlorine will go as chlorine gas. Then what is remaining? The remaining is sodium ion and hydroxide ion. The sodium ion and hydroxide ion will combine to form sodium hydroxide. So this is the electrolysis process takes place. Balancing the equation, 2 chlorine atom is there, so you have to put 2 here. 2 hydrogen, now 2 sodium, so put 2 here. Now everything will get balanced. So by passing brine solution, sodium chloride will decompose into hydrogen gas, chlorine gas, and also sodium hydroxide will obtain. This is a very important industrial process by which we can able to prepare the sodium hydroxide. Now another one, the physical properties of sodium hydroxide we have already studied. It is a colorless solution which is bitter in taste and soapy to touch. Already we have learned the physical property. Chemical property, only one thing, with the metals. When sodium hydroxide reacts with the zinc to form sodium zincate plus hydrogen. So if sodium hydroxide reacts with the metal, then again hydrogen gas will produce. Example, sodium hydroxide with zinc, it will form sodium zincate. A salt sodium zincate is obtained, plus hydrogen gas will be liberated. This is an important reactions of chemical properties of sodium hydroxide. So only one base they have discussed in your textbook, that is sodium hydroxide. Why? Because sodium hydroxide is an important, not only lab reagent. The lab reagent is very important lab reagent and important raw material for preparing so many salt we can prepare from sodium hydroxide. So it is a very important industrial material. So industrially we need sodium hydroxide. So industrial chemical also important, lab reagent also important. So that's all about sodium hydroxide. And another one now, the next one is salts. Next we are going to study salts. Acid we have studied, bases we have studied, next salt. The name of the lesson is acid, bases, salt. So salt we are going to study. So whenever you say the salt, we come across only one, we remember the salt sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is the salt, isn't it? So now this salt is obtained from, can you able to guess which this salt is obtained from? Which acid? Yes, hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide. From this we got the salt sodium chloride. So some of the salt will obtained from strong acid and strong base. So these salts, so I am writing here, then salt is obtained from strong acid and strong base. They are known as neutral salts. Neutral salts. Their pH will be 7. Their pH will be 7. Neutral salt pH will be 7. Some of the salt will obtained from strong acid and weak base. They are known as acidic salts. Their pH is less than 7. Less than 7. Some of the salt is obtained from weak acid and strong base. They are known as basic salts. So their pH is greater than 7. And some of the salts obtained from weak acid and weak base, they are again called as neutral salts. Their pH is 7. So there are 4 types of salts. 3 type of salt: neutral salt, acidic salt, basic salt. Acidic salt is obtained from strong acid and weak base because acid is very strong. So we are getting acidic salt. Then basic salt, here base is very strong. So we are getting basic salt. So its pH is greater. You know that base pH is greater than 7. Similarly, basic salt, if I dissolve in water, if I check the pH will be greater than 7. Similarly, acidic salt, if I dissolve in water and check the pH will be less than 7. Then neutral salt, if I some salts will formed from strong acid and strong base and weak acid and weak base, they are neutral salt. Their pH will be 7. So these are some of the types of salts. Now another one more thing we are going to study, that is water of crystallization. Water of crystallization. Water of crystallization. Some of the salts, copper sulfate gains 5 water molecule, ferrous sulfate 7 water molecule, sodium carbonate 10 water molecule. See, some of the salts absorbs water molecule from the surrounding and it will become crystals. So this process is known as water of crystallization. So during the water of crystallization, the salt will become very stable, and it absorbs some equal amount of salt, or we can say some limited amount of water molecule. So in the formula we have to write CuSO4 into 5H2O. So this is known as water of crystallization. Water of crystallization. Do you understand that? So now in the next class, so with this just I am going to complete this lesson, complete this module, and another next module we are going to study different types of salts. So we are going to study baking soda, washing soda, plaster of Paris and gypsum, their preparation and properties. 4 salts we are going to study their preparation and properties, that we will study in the next class. So this module you studied the base sodium hydroxide, preparation, properties and uses, and also what is meant by salt, what are the different type of salt, and what is meant by water of crystallization. So take the notes and prepare well, students. Thank you, students.